Good evening, everybody. Oniban?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Sen, could you just unmute yourself once? Let me check if your microphone is okay.
Yeah, all right.
You're audible. Thank you. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for joining us for the first members forum. Basically, this members forum is we have made it a little informal kind of a session where our members would be actually interacting with the audience. They will be showcasing their expertise. They will be giving us their experience and sharing with us some of the points that they would like to make personally and professionally. And then we would be we would take forward every month, maybe twice a month. Like we are starting with Mr. Anirup Sen. Thanks a lot for to him for joining and being the first speaker to this event. It's very nice to have been able to start this because we have been thinking of starting this for a long time. We already have a CMA quiz which we organize every month, barring a few months, of course, given the time and the schedule that we are available with. So what we will do is we will be basically continuing with this members from now on, and we will be taking expert opinions from different speakers. Like from the next month, we will be, after the budget, we'll be having a small talk from people who are experts in finance and are in our membership roles. Also, after that, we'll have a young person who is about 30-35 at the moment, but he has already he has traveled more than 50 countries already with a very limited budget. So he'll be sharing his experience, how he has done this and how we can all do that. And after that, what we'll be doing is we'll also have some entrepreneurs coming up and telling what to do if you want to be an entrepreneur. So we have a few more events lined up. And also for the members who will be joining, I'll be sharing with you at last, once again, that we are coming back with the get-together, the CMA get-together that we organize every year on 18th of February on the Ganges. So that also would be the information that I'll provide. But before that, I would request Mr. Anirup Sen to kindly take us through today's session. And just to brief you, I would request Mr. Sen to introduce himself because he would be the best one to actually tell what we can expect from him today, at least. So he's at the most, I can tell at the moment, he's the Chief Operating Officer of Jardine, Henderson. And he has been working for a long time and also has been a member of CMA since long, maybe 80s, is it, Mr. Sen? You have been a member of CMA?
It is almost, I will say, I started as a student member way back in the 90s when I was studying in college.
Right. So just one change that we'll be having, we usually have this as a closed doors sessions, but this time, since we have told that this will be informal sessions, after Mr. Sen has completed what he wants to share with us, his experience and his talk, we will open the floor for every one of you. We would request you to kindly raise your hands after the session of Mr. Sen is over. If you have questions, we'll unmute you and allow you to speak and directly interact with Mr. Sen and ask him the questions. The only thing is we'll be stopping sharp at 7:30. So all the best to all of you. Thanks for joining. We are also being joined by people on YouTube, as I can see, YouTube and Facebook, which we are also live on. So thanks a lot to everyone for joining. And may I request Mr. Anirup Sen to please take over. Mr. Sen, please.
Mr. Tan, Anirban, and I again thank you as well as Mr. Shenoy giving me the opportunity to speak. Good evening to the August audience here. And I will say the main topic which I'm starting here is to prepare yourself for the workplace. This is a very light topic where I just want to emphasize on when people from colleges or anywhere want to go to the workplace, what are the things they can visualize, what is an organization, what are the people who make an organization, how we can work in the workplace, and certain different facets of the development in a workplace. This is the main topic which I'm going to cover, which will give an emphasis not only to freshers who are going out of college, even for people like us who has worked in the various facets and in the organization life, how we can develop in a place people, processes, workplaces, and go forward. And how as we work as a bonhomie between the departments to develop in the overall success of an organization. Start from the first slide.
Is it visible, Mr. Sen?
No, it is not yet come. Yeah, now it's on. Slide is just prepare yourself for the workplace, a total viewpoint of making oneself ready for a corporate career. This is mainly, I'm starting with the people who are passing out from college, going into a corporate career. I'm going into that. Then I will go slowly into the next part, gradually over the slides. Second slide, please. What is an organization? Organization is a structural framework of duties and responsibilities required of personnel in performing various functions with a view to achieve business. Now we have to understand that why the concept of an organization comes. This comes from a very basic thing of in the dictionary. We see that we have to organize everything. That means we have to work together, or we have to go together for a common path. So that is where, especially for people who want to start their career, especially for people who want to maybe go from a change of job in a different organization, they have to understand that what is that organization wanting to achieve, what they want to organize to do something. So this is a structural framework where people have their own duties and responsibilities, and there is a various functions. There are different functions because it is working on a common path. But there are different people who are assigned with different jobs to work towards a common goal. So that is what an organization is happening. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, what are the different functions in an organization? There are management functions. There are determination of activities, grouping of activities, allotment of duties to specified persons, delegation of authority, defining relationships, and the coordination of various activities. This is just in a nutshell, if I assume, is that there are different facets of an organization that what they realize is, if you go into much details, is that there is first of all, when a company has been formed, there is a activity to be assigned. That what is that company formed is like a CA firm. What is a chartered accountancy firm does? A chartered accountancy firm is mainly used to do the auditing, accountancy of various functions of an organization. What is a management consulting firm does? A management consulting firm is a determination of acting to do consulting. There may be different facets of consulting. There will be engineering consulting. There will be information technology consulting. There might be normal HR consulting. So activity has to be assigned when you are forming an organization, or you have to organize something for a common path. Then comes the grouping of activities. What does that mean? That you have different facets where different departments has to be assigned for a common path. There are maybe different departments, which I'm coming into the second thing on the business functions, where different departments have been assigned for a common path to do an activity in that organization. Next comes every activity is defined a duty, and specified persons have been assigned who will be. Next comes, if every department and every allotment has been given, there have to be people to run that duty. There will be people to run the show. So every department will have a delegation of authority, means that person, whoever is that, will be assigned to and responsible for allotment of that duty for the specified person, and the goal is achieved. And there has to be a defining relationship and a coordination of these various activities, which is very important. Nowadays, we have seen, especially after COVID, before COVID, is that there are a lot of organizations which have failed. Why? It's not only for the COVID. It is because there has been no coordination between various departments, which is very, very important for the success of an organization. That marketing, finance, when I'm going into the business functions, these are the various departments. There is finance, sales and marketing, research and development, information technology, customer service, human resources, corporate strategy, operations. These are the various or in a nutshell, the various departments, which is very important that if there is no bonhomie, again, I'm saying this word, bonhomie between departments for a common goal, an organization will never survive. It is very important for organizations to survive that has to be a cohesion between the departments. There has to be a common path that whatever, whether an audit department or a finance department or a marketing department, whoever is performing a task, it has to be performed for a common goal. That is the success of an organization. And what was my organization's vision, which is very, very important, that today I have come to do management consulting. Today I have to come to market a product. So that vision is very important for the bonhomie across departments. The next slide, please, Anirup. Now we go into a different function, that is the management function. Management function is the, see, this is the various facets of any department head of any department of the various departments which I've given, which I've told in the earlier slide, is that what is the delegation of authority? That authority person, what is his responsibility? Direction, organizing the people, staffing of people means putting adequate manpower in adequate places for the success of the department and the success of the organization. Controlling, very important, that the whatever has been assigned to the person, that in that team, the team works well. There's an effective control mechanism that today a definite task has been assigned and it has to be delivered. So that control mechanism has to be there very much. Planning. Without a planning, there is nothing achievable. Because if you don't have a plan, you don't know what you are going to do tomorrow. So there has to be a clear plan with a clear direction, a clear target. Based on that, every department has to work. If these four things are not in line with each other, one fails, the other fails automatically. So it is very important that all the four functions work together as a function for any management division for any organization in any department. The next slide, Anirup. Now we go to the business functions, like which I've elaborated in the previous two slides. Is there are business functions are the foundation of a company's structure and operations. They include all the divisions, departments, and other components involving creating a product or service, which I was telling before. Within an organization, the main functional groups include manufacturing, sales, marketing, accounts, finance, human resource. Now, I'm going in a brief thing that today, why these departments are required. For any organization to first establish or first start, you have to have an effective marketing. You have to, that organization should be known that what they are going to do. And so that effective marketing angle is very important. Now, there is a very definite difference between sales and marketing. In India, unfortunately, a lot of companies don't understand the difference. They think marketing is sales and sales is marketing. Marketing and sales are two different things altogether. Marketing is a function where, as an organization, you have to understand where your market is, which are the areas you have to go for the success of the organization. Once that market is assigned, then comes the sales activity. That whatever you have identified the market, there you are going to sell something. You are going to market a product, or you have to there comes the sales activity. So without a marketing, a sales is not completed. So this is a basic difference which everybody should, even a person at this level also should understand, like me. Next comes in a manufacturing organization, production is very important. Production department, they are manufacturing, they are making anything. So production department has to be very important and a very important facet for any manufacturing organization. As well as next comes with marketing comes accounting, finance, because today, whatever work we are doing in an organization, whatever we are going to work, there is an expense, there is a cost involved. That costing management has to be done by the accounts and the finance department. So accounting department is very, very important facet of any organization. And it is that department which will emphasize that whether the cost is effective for the growth of the organization, or we are incurring unnecessary cost, which is not attaining to the success of the organization. The accounting department is very important. Now, taking all the departments to bring in people to maintain the bonhomie, the most important department of any organization is human resource. Why human resource? Because human resource department is the face value of an organization. They have to take effective manpower. They have to take effective people at critical positions, which can make the organization grow. And why I always say that human resource is the face value, because it is the HR which makes or breaks an organization. Because if the manpower and the effective people are not there in the key positions, or in any organization, the key people across various departments, then an organization fails, it will never succeed. So HR plays a very, very important role, not only for the recruitment, but for also the organization development, training of the workforce, training of manpower, which is very, very important. Important sessions on development of the person to take to the next level, a person who is a junior trainee, to make him which comes into the picture. Next slide, Anirup. Yeah. Now, very important, which I learn every day, and I think people in the always accept that what are the essential professional skills required for working in an organization? Very important. That is why I put it in number 1, is listening. There are people, including me, I always say myself also, because you have to always self-criticize yourself. Sometimes I also have the habit of just saying without listening. Listening is very important. Listening is very important because you have to first understand, hear what others say, which is very important. Maybe you are not agreeing with what that person is saying, but it is important. You have to make him or her important in front of you by listening to what that person is saying. That person, today you might have a wrong notion about the person, but listening will always help. When people make you understand that this person, after the conversation, you have learned a lot, that it might go in a positive direction. Speaking is important, but you also have to understand where to speak what. Especially when people from freshers go into the corporate career at various levels, speaking is very important, because you have to know where to speak what, how to speak what. Like in speaking, there are 2 parts. You are dealing with internal customers, you are dealing with external customers. Who are your internal customers? The workplace. So speaking with them. And again, speaking with a customer outside the world, a vendor or anybody with whom you are dealing, is again a different ballgame. Because there you are the face value of the organization. So your dictum, the way of speaking, your way of communication is very, very important. So speaking becomes a very integral part. Next comes problem solving, which I have witnessed in my career across sectors, is that there are challenges in every organization. We will always say that my job is the most critical. It is not like that. Every job is critical. So very important is that problem solving is very, very important, because you have to have a very good solution-driven attitude with ways. Because if you don't have a solution-driven mindset, then you will not be able to grow yourself in the career, neither the company grow in the proper path for success. So problem-solving attitude, problem-solving techniques here one has to develop with experience when he goes in an organization. Creativity, very important, is because when you are facing challenges, you have to think out of the box. You have to think something creative. You have to think something out of the box in such a way that goes in a very different direction, and that might give a different feeling to people. So these things are very important, and this will add value to people on going forward in the workplace, because something out of the box always helps. Like we go through a normal formula, but if something goes out of the box, it gives a added value to anybody in the line. This I can give my example. When I was in Hyderabad working in one of the leading financial companies in the country, we were into construction equipment rental and leasing, and I was given a task of a region in South India. I'd worked there for almost 8-9 years, where I was given a task of leading a team which was totally fatigued. There were a lot of integrity issues. Business was not happening. And overall, people were not wanting to take the role of the regional heads at South. If anybody was asked to get a thing there, it was like going to Andaman without anything. So I took the challenge when it was given to me. That why are you taking the challenge? But I took the challenge with the existing team. I went out in the market. I did a branding, a creativity, and I stayed positive, which is the fifth point coming. You have to be positive. First of all, when the team is panicked, an existing team, you have to first give them the motivation. You have to stay positive and you make them positive. If you add to the panic, that is not going to help neither the person, nor you, nor the team. So I worked with them, and we used to do and I can give you the numbers. We used to do a meager business of only 1 to 2 lakhs per month. And from there, we went up to almost 1 crore in 6 months. It was a huge growth. And for 5 years consecutively, we were the best region award. So it happened, and the team got motivated, and we built from one base to another. We were a small branch in Hyderabad. From Hyderabad, we went to Bangalore. From Bangalore, we went to Chennai. From Chennai, we went up to Kochi. So we built up at least 6-7 branches in South. That was one of my biggest success, where there were a lot of challenges, but we never gave up. So you have to stay positive. You have to aim high. And there comes your leadership quality and teamwork, because that's the magic where you have to go into the upper star. Because people will see, when the role was given to you, one should also understand that when a senior role is given to anybody, it is just not given for peanuts. That senior role has been given so that you can develop something out of the way, and you have to add value to that role. It's not just you just come and do a normal work. A senior role will never do a normal work in an organization. Should not do also. You should go out of the box. You have to be creative. You have to stay positive and build a team for the future. Very important is a team for the future. Means you have to always have a second man, a third man round the line. So tomorrow, if you go to a different role, somebody will take your mantle. So that is where the teamwork goes to the next level. So these are the very essential skills which will help an organization to grow faster, as well as a person and the team to go forward. The next slide, please, Anirup. Now, this is roughly a broad outlet of the industry types where people are there. I'm taken like the industry type. There are food, there are manufacturing, in food, garments, textiles, machinery and equipment, chemicals, electronics, non-metallic, wood products, furniture, other manufacturing. Retail is there. And there is information technology, construction, hotels. Others are into consulting and everything. The basic framework of industries can be divided into these platforms. So it is very important that why I'm giving this breakup is that people, like for me, I can give the example. I've worked across sectors. I've started from banking and finance to construction equipment, to construction infrastructure, to wastewater management, to telecom, and now I'm into a different sector, which is into pest control and fumigation. I've worked across sectors. But now the question comes that how you can manage across sectors. That is very important. So across sectors, you have to manage, you have to have the gift of the gap. You have to have the leadership quality. You have to understand where your basic, how to go forward and which are the potholes of an organization, the footfalls, where we can break the ice and go take to the next level. Next slide, please. These are the roughly slightly theoretical, the manufacturing industry skills required. This is mainly for people who are wanting to join this industry or wanting to go into the next industry. The ability to work as a part of the team, leadership skills, work ethics, time management, attention to details, aptitude for tech and equipment, dependability, flexibility. See, I have worked in a manufacturing industry. I have worked even in a non-manufacturing industry, though I am not a technical guy, but technical qualification is definitely a must. But if a person is given an assignment in a manufacturing industry, on-the-job training is very important. If an opportunity comes, people should not just say that I'm not a technical guy, I cannot do that job. So on-the-job training, getting into the leadership skills, like when I was working in the construction equipment rental sector, I'm not an engineer. I used to rent out, I used to finance construction equipments like excavators, loaders, JCBs and all those big construction equipments. I used to know the integral part, how much will a JCB service, what is the diesel consumption, what is the chemical output. So all those things are very important. So you have to be on the job training, working with the team, you also learn a lot. It is not that you always learn from your uppers. You also should learn from the people who are down between. You learn from your team. That you might have team who are big engineers, who have gone to the next level. So from those engineers also you learn a lot. You can go to next level to learn and take them forward. They will come with a lot of engineering problems. You are not an engineer. How will you solve that? If you're not in the market, you will not understand what is that. So that effective skills of development and everything is also very, very important. Next comes the software industry. Software industry is basically into programming languages, common operating systems, software proficiency, technical writing, project management, data analysis. I missed out one point. Now here comes also an line which is also into software industry, where non-technical people are being taken. That is mainly to content writing. Like there are a lot of people, I know a lot of my friends are there who are working in IBM or working in Cognizant. They are into content writing, content development. What is that? A branding of a product, how to write, how to make it in. So there are people who are working there also. So it is why I give this framework is that it is a mixture of technical and non-technical people who have worked across sectors. Retail industry is very common. Customer service, very important, because your retail industry is one thing where your customer is the must. Customer is the king. Because without satisfying the customer, neither you will grow, nor you can make the customer happy and your business will not act. Commercial awareness of the product, whether the product is viable in the market. Working under pressure, because there are huge targets in the retail industry where you have to follow the targets under tremendous pressure. Working in a busy team, time management, problem solving, which I've already explained, and attention to details. So retail industry becomes very important because retail industry is again coming into a lot of things. I've worked in a lot in the retail industry. Still, I'm working here. That is in the direct retail industry. But if you're talking of from the banking and finance perspective, this retail banking, giving loans to customers, giving selling products of banking products to customers is also a very big part of the retail industry, where you have got stiff targets. But there you have to analyze whether you are giving the product to the right customer or not. So there comes risk management, there comes a lot of other factors which makes the retail industry growth in a different manner. Can we go to the next slide, Anirup? We are almost coming to the end. This is one of the things that tips to help you to prepare for the workplace. One is prepare or you enhance in the workplace is, one is you have to examine yourself, reflect on your motivations, think about your long-term goals, Take different self-assessment tests, very important. Like I was telling about myself, you also have to self-criticize yourself where you are going wrong. Whatever you have done through your career, how can you go to the next level? How can you make a self-analyze that these are the areas where I need to develop. These are the areas, maybe if I have to take this, I'm going into a new industry, maybe I don't know the product. How will I tackle that? So I have to make a self-assessment. Which are the areas I need to know? Maybe the product type, maybe mixing with the team to know the market, maybe going out to the market to know the customers. So self-assessment is very, very important for anybody at various facets of the work. Explore sectors, explore industries, seek out professional resources. That is very important because professional resources, I will always say, again, is internal as well as external. The people which you mix, you might learn a lot of things from them. You might learn a lot of expertise from them, which will help you not into your growth. It will also have a growth maybe on the product or anything or the organization as a whole. So you learn, and you learn on a continuous basis, because learn is something which has no change. It is constant, and you have to learn it. If you don't learn, your life will become constant. You will not be able to grow. So learn is a constant dimension which needs to be always on a changing mode as you grow up in your career. Next slide. Well, this is the last slide. This is an open window for probing into a deeper platform of work environment and corporate world. This is a brief presentation I gave. It's a very structural way, in a very lucid way. And I thanks to everybody. Now, if anybody can ask me any questions, I'm open for that.
I would request anyone who has questions to kindly raise your hand on the Zoom chat so that we can unmute you and you can ask the question. But before that, Mr. Sen, I just wanted to know, since you have given a nice introduction of what a corporate looks like and how it works, there might be a few students members who have joined us. I can see a few of them, yes, they have joined. Who would like to know, since they are maybe the second or fourth semester, as I understand, they would like to know exactly where, how they should prepare themselves, because they would know that they are going to have their campusing. It is quite understandable they would be having some kind of an opportunity, and probably they will also have some open windows for them to easily get into the corporate. But once they go into the corporate, it's very different. And as I understand it from what you have said, it's not going to be easy for them. So, the first thing that really strikes anyone is basically, as I understand, is a cultural change. If you are changing industry, you're changing your job, or even if when you're starting a new job. So if you can just throw some light on that, how to tackle that, because, anything which is subject based, which needs learning, which needs knowledge, might be something that they can get from colleagues, from other people. But getting this knowledge from the colleagues, politics is pretty understandable in a corporate. So if you could help getting that, please.
Anirup, it's a very tricky and a very vital question. But what I will say is that, see, when you go across organizations, which has happened with me especially, is that you have worked across sectors from banking, finance, construction equipment, and all those things. One of the major facets which I was saying in my presentation is you have to understand the vision of that organization. Very important. That what is that organization doing? Like when I was in banking and finance, I will say my example that will help people maybe. That when I was in banking and finance, I was most into risk management and business development. I was into retail loans. We were selling loan products to customers. That was our aim. We had a target, and we have to have the basic base on how the bank has to produce. And we launched the SME banking unit when I was in Stancy in Eastern India, that a new launch has happened, and how you have to market that product in the among the customer base. So you have to know what is that. Now, as soon as you develop, you move into the market, you see the segment, what are the types of customers in your SME segment and how you go. Now, again, when you're going into the construction equipment industry, which is a different ball game altogether. Okay, you are heading operations, but you have to also understand that what was my aim? I have to do equipment selling in the market. I have to rent out these machines in the market. I cannot keep the machines idle, which I purchased from the vendors or from the big manufacturers. If I keep the equipments in my stock, I'm adding to my cost and I'm not earning any revenue. So I have to understand the basic necessity, what I have to do in that organization and what the organization expects from me, which is very, very important in the various facets of any organization. These are the two examples I gave. Even what I'm doing now. Now it is again a very different sector. This is into pest control and fumigation. Nothing related to construction equipment, nothing related to banking and finance. A totally different ball game. So what is that? Why you have been taken? Well, I have been taken that to lead to a business growth in the areas where our establishment is not there. That is one area which I found out. These are the areas where I move out of station to develop those markets. Second thing, you have to ensure compliances, because in pest control and fumigation industry, I don't know people are from that sector or not, you have to have adequate licenses to work. You have to have adequate compliances to work, and you have to ensure that the compliances stand in place when you work ahead. It is not a question of doing business only. You have to do business with compliances, which is very, very important. This I've understood. So we have to work accordingly, and I'm responsible for ensuring that the compliances are all in place. Because we have our external audits, we have our internal audits. We also have, since we are reporting to, we have the licenses come from the Department of Ministry of Agriculture. These people also can have a random check at any of our units anywhere. So which becomes very, very important that, so again, my paradigm has shifted, which Anirup, I was wanting to say, which you had questioned, is that from retail finance to retail industry of customer service, the basic operations value may remain the same, but your product mix and your facet, what you want to do in the organization and what the organization expects from you, along with the details of the organization, is very important for the growth of this.
Yes, I understand. I have received two questions on my chat and also on the WhatsApp. But before that, I would just like to know, very shortly, you have worked across different industries. You have worked across different, cross-functional areas.
Yes.
As I can see from your profile. What you would like to point out as the three main points that remain same all throughout, which you have to maintain, you have to develop, and you have to, grow in those matters. Three main points, if you could just tell us.
Three main points is, one is my biggest number one, I will say leadership quality, which is very important, because that is one of the main things. Because if you have to be a good leader, and you have to have a vision for the growth of the organization as well as the team. Leadership quality. Second is team building. Very important, because which I again go back to my equipment rental days, because which was one of my biggest successes. From a small fry, we became a big chicken. You can say that, when we moved into the rental industry and how we developed the branches, is team building. Because that is like we always used to say that we are the South Army. We were working like the Indian Army. Our thing was we should be always 24/7 on. Even people who are, and we should, when we are serving the customer, our mobiles, everything has to be on. Whether it is even, because since we were doing equipment rental, I remember that even at 2 o'clock at the night, there's a call from the customer that your machine has broken down. I cannot say that I'm sleeping. I cannot say that. So the team also has to be built in that way, that they should also be savvy, customer savvy. They have to be effective. So that is a second quality. Third is learning, I will say, because this is the biggest example is mine. because I've learned across sectors. And I'm still learning, lots to learn. So these are the three important things I can say.
So quite clearly, CMA is the best place to do that because CMA's motto is profit the mind. So, so if whoever is listening, you are in the right place at the right time. You said that you received calls from your customers at 1:30 at 2 or 2 at night, and you have to take the calls. Now there's a question. I understand this person is a young budding manager, a budding corporate person who has joined corporate very recently, or maybe he's about to join it. He has said, how can young executives maintain the work-life balance? Now, see, there's a difference. Means you are talking about being into business and being into corporate life, even at right at the night at 2 p.m., 2 a.m. maybe. But there's a question that how to maintain the work-life balance. What would you say about that? A very young person asking this question.
Very good question which has come, that how you prepare yourself for a work-life balance. This is a very important question. Why this is very important, and I will say I've learned from a lot of my ex-bosses. Even I will say my work-life balance is not as good till now. I have lots to learn on that. But a lot of my ex-bosses, one of my ex-bosses, I will not name here in the forum, he has said one thing, like you have to plan your holidays in such a way that you have to create a team or a second in command, that when you are going for a holiday with your family, your work should not suffer. If in your holiday also that team is calling you or anything, that means your work-life balance is not there. Secondly, you have to prioritize your work for the day. There are people basically I've seen across organizations, when like in this company I've seen we start very early. Anirup, you know very well that we start at 9 o'clock, we end by 5:30. I come to office by 8:30 in the morning. If you prioritize your work throughout the day, you can maintain a very good after work hours when you go home. But if you don't prioritize, and certainly which I've seen a lot of people especially I don't want to say, especially I'm seeing in Calcutta, people have the habit of when tea and coffee are served in the offices, people still have the habit to go downstairs and have coffee and tea for hours. Then suddenly at 6 p.m. they see, oh, the courier is coming. No, I have to go to the office. And they work till 9 o'clock. That is rubbish. That is rubbish. That means whole day you have not worked. If you prioritize your work in an effective way and key points and what is your importance today and jot it down in the morning and start your work, you can definitely have a very good work-life balance. So I'm still learning. I'm again saying I'm still learning.
So you are saying the most important part of life, of corporate life, of personal life, of the life that we are leading is basically planning. You have to plan well in advance what you are going to do.
Absolutely.
And then you should have a plan B if in case plan A doesn't work.
Absolutely.
So indirectly, sir, you are pointing at me because I stay quite quite late in the night at the office, and you have visited me quite often. So you're telling that I should have more planning in my life, isn't it, sir?
Another. I'm not saying in that way, Anirup, but another example which I will give is from my banking industry days. Is that still today in the banks, because I have a lot of my friends working in banks, my ex-colleagues are still working. Banking industry, leave, holidays are mandatory. Because if you are not giving your team member, right? There are in a lot of big organizations also, if you are not giving your team member a holiday, your appraisal is also gone for a toss as a senior. So second point is, I have witnessed myself, since I was that time handling collections where we had stiff targets. There is a training which is going on 25th to 30th of the month. Now you tell me, Anirup, 25th to 30th is the month end, right? At that time, my numbers have to be there. But it is mandatory, you have to attend that training. If you are attending that, so you have to create your second line in such a way that your numbers are not going for a toss, and the work is happening way, and you are also attending the training. That is also a work-life balance, because suppose you are going for an offsite. Usually our bank offsites also used to happen after 20th of the month. Now you cannot say no. You cannot say no, because if you are selected for the offsite, you have to go. So offsite means Offside means an offside. You cannot even touch the mobile. Sometimes you may be allowed to look at the mails or whatever, but you have to manage it like that. There were heavy sessions on leadership. There were a lot of movies going on. I remember I went to an international session of Standard Chartered in Bangalore for 5 days. That was also happened from 22nd to 27th. So first question, that time I was a very young guy. So I used to ask, why always the sessions happen after 20th? Why not before 20th? They said that is why we make effective leaders for the next level. That the next team has to be ready in your absence. So the work goes on as usual. It is just like business as usual. And I again, one of the things my father used to say is no more, that it is nobody is indispensable. People, if they think that if I go, my organization collapses, it is wrong. It is absolutely a wrong. So it is very important that whether you stay or not stay, you have to create a second line. So when you go, the organization goes with them.
So you are basically propagating two things, as I understand, is a very strong leadership quality, and you are really saying that a leader is basically a leader. A great leader is someone who actually makes a great team. That is what you are.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I would come across with the last question. This is a question from a HR student. This is a question that we always had during our management days, and we used to try to understand what the answer could be, the perfect answer, which we have yet not got. I understand, and I feel Mr. Framji is also here. He is a former president of CMA who is listening to us, and he was ED at the CSC, so HR in fact. He might not also have got the answer, but I'm asking you, what, according to you, is the ideal leadership style or trait? If you can just explain on that.
I will say, style. Let us not go into the theories of marketing or MBA, which we have learned. Ideal leadership style, according to how I have gained success, whatever success I've achieved, is that be a team member. Very important. If you are not a team member and if you do not listen to the team, you cannot be a good leader. Very important. Be a team leader and a problem-solving person. Because I have always, whenever I build a team, I've always discussed with the team that you also come with solution. With one option, I come with one option. Let us come with a solution. Problems will always be there. Problems are there. Problems are, we are already, when we are born, we are already in planet Earth, which is already, there are a lot of challenges, a lot of problems everywhere. We are living also is a problem. We are living in uncertainty. You don't know how much your life is, how much your life is, you don't know. But in spite of all that, it is very important that be a good team member, listen and develop the team to the next level. That is the biggest leadership style which I have felt and I have gained success. And I've built people who are in very good positions now across organizations. And I'm proud of that.
Great. So thanks a lot. We understand this is a nice start to our members forum with more of a, I would have liked more of a interaction, but I understand that the people, we are probably a little ahead of time, and people would probably start to respond from the next sessions that we'll be having, where we would definitely have you also. But so thanks a lot to Mr. Sen. Just trying to understand if Mr. Framji would like to say something. I've given him the unmuting rights. If Mr. Framji, would you like to add some things to this?
Thank you, Anirban, for the opportunity. First and foremost, Anirup Sensor, you have laid out certain routes as to how to go to corporate, get into a corporate or any work organizations. My only difference of opinion here is, while team building is a very, very important thing, what I firstly believe for leadership is to, when you get into any organization, you should learn the basics of that organization. What is this culture? What is it aiming at? Where do you want to take it? You have to have excellent, which you already talked about, listening skills. Because when you are new in an organization, you don't know what the organization, you may have read about it, you may be knowing about it, But what are the intricacies in that organization? That comes from the people who are already there. And if you keep your ears open, you can understand the culture, the feeling, the pulse of the people. You are where you are is because of your own skills, and from there you got to take it further up. So while team building is a very essential thing, having a second-hand person is also very important. I personally feel is when you get in, you have to learn. For the management trainees, as you said, they have dreams, and rightly they have dreams. They look at organization, they read a lot, they try to find out where they will fit in. And sometimes, as I said, I would say is that dreams are bigger than what reality is. So they should be prepared to see where you fit in and how you can grow. Nurturing young people is very important when you get into the organization. Otherwise, what happens is people come in, they look around, they feel isolated, and they leave. What have you done? You wasted some time. Because somebody is come after all, he's not going to leave in 2 days. You're training him, you put in efforts, and then he goes away. So there are umpteen skills. I think in a very broad perspective and a very short time, you have expressed the entire thing is what is expected. I fully endorse what you say that a team depends on the leader. How you can listen to them, how you can mold them, how you can cajole them, how you can fire them, how you can take them with you where you want to take them. And my definition of a leader and a manager is something very different. A manager is a guy who manages a thing for the day. A leader is the guy who thinks out of the box and looks to grow the organization. These are just a few thoughts which came off since Anirban on the spot asked me to hit off. Just these few observations. Thank you very much for your very incept or in-depth thought of the thing and this thing. I think there's a Anirban, there's a gentleman Shubhro Varto who's going his thumbs up for the last 15 minutes if you give him a chance before he
Yeah,
closes up.
Shobhrata, would you like to speak something? Would you like to say something? Just a minute. Yeah, Shobhrata, if you want, you can unmute yourself, please.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah,
It's nice hearing you, Anirup. It was very nice and very important facts were shared and very nice thoughts from Mr. Fremji also. So it's definitely a great learning. Whatever you spoke is correct. I was pointing out about the work-life balance. In today's scenario, in the fast-moving corporate, the young executives face a lot of problem in meeting up the expectations of senior management. That's speed, that's meeting up the targets and working late and to some extent maybe sacrificing their work-life balance. So how actually these young people will take up these things and how the management can accept this kind of adjust rather these kind of things.
Hi, Shubhro. It's nice that I am interacting with my ex-colleague. It's very nice. And I thank Framji sir also because he has given a lot of insight.
Yes, he's a very senior person and I know him in other way because my uncle was very close to him when he was.
For the insight on the things which he's told that a leader, how he has to develop out of the box. These are very good learnings. And I'm privileged that people at that of that level are listening to a meager person like me. I'm really privileged, and I thanks the total audience on that. Shubhro, what you have said, and I understand why you have said it. Let us not go into the details because I have worked with you in the X organization. See, very important, which is your role, which I know what you do in your present organization, is when a fresher is coming or joining an organization. This is what you are pointing out. You have to first see a fresher from, like, see, it's very important. From school, a person goes to college. That's a different, that's a different world. Yes. From school, you have a discipline. College is slightly out of the box. And then from college, you go to a corporate, which is again a different world. So when you face an interview, you have, I think you have interviewed billions of people across.
Correct.
Yes. Now, very important is that a newcomer, first thing is you have to, when suppose you have selected a person in the company, how you have to develop in is very important is First, like you are in HR. So your role becomes very important, which I was saying is that HR has to create a window between departments. Like suppose you have taken a person in marketing, right, Subhabrata?
Yeah.
So it's very important that the marketing head or the marketing discipline in charge or the unit in charge gives a feeling of the organization first from your side as well as from the department side. Induction of an individual is very important in an organization. I am very sorry to say there are a lot of organizations still today which don't have a very good induction mechanism.
Yes.
Which is very, very important. Because as a newcomer, if you don't have an induction of what every department of an organization does, what an organization as a whole does, what is the mission and vision of an organization, it becomes very difficult for that person to stay. Today, if you have a very good induction, you will feel proud. Okay, I've joined an organization which has given me such a wonderful induction for 7 days or 5 days or whatever. This is very important. And I thank Subhabrata, you, because I had recently worked in your organization. When you are working, you people have given me a very good. I'll praise that.
That's the role of a HR. HR should first give people the comfort.
For a newcomer means, suppose I was also a newcomer at a level. There are freshers also. So induction is very important. An induction training. Second is, especially a fresher needs a good training. Suppose he's come from a very general line, and it's a very specific line where it is into a software development or maybe into a manufacturing or a finance industry. First, an adequate training, which sir was also saying, adequate training of the workforce, adequate learning of what the product or what the services are very important to be inducted in any fresher in an organization. If that induction training is not there and the training of the workforce is not there, that person who is joined will not understand what that organization does. So,
correct.
These are the two basic things which I feel more or less gives a person confidence that he or she is working in the right workplace. To start.
Yes. That sets the expectation, actually, what the organization expects from the employee.
Absolutely.
And then only he can follow the track.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Subhabrata. Thanks a lot.
Thanks you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot to Mr. Framji. I always try to listen to him. I'll always try to, I shouldn't be using the word, ask him to speak something, because he is someone whom we all look up to. I personally really regard him as one of my mentors. So thanks a lot, Mr. Framji, for taking time out and being with us all throughout this session. Thank you, Mr. Sen. It was very nice listening to you. In fact, you covered both the sides, from the side of an employer and also from the side of an employee. What should the employee expect once he's joining a new place, a new industry, a new job, first time or maybe the next time. And also what an employer should start and think of giving back to the employee in terms of the culture, in terms of the understanding of the organization as it goes forward. So thanks a lot, Mr. Sen. To all the members, let me tell you once again that this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg that we have started to begin. So we'll be having more sessions, these kind of sessions with our members. At least twice a month, we are trying to do that. But in the meantime, since we are just logging off, I will be sharing with you a screen where you will have your certificate link. So you can just a minute, I'll share with you. Thanks a lot. Just you can scan it. You can scan the certificate link and you can go to the link and get your certificate. Fill the form and get the certificate. So thanks a lot. Have a good day. And please stay attached with us. Stay connected to us on our Facebook, on our LinkedIn, Instagram, and also keep watching our website for the latest news on the events that we are organizing. So this is the link. You can either take down the link or you can scan the barcode and you can QR code, sorry, and you can get going. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. I'll keep it open for another 30 seconds. And after that, we'll call it a day. Thank you, Mr. Sen. Thanks to all the seniors joining, all the members. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.